Hi, I'm David Kadouch. I'm a concert pianist. In my lifetime, I've accompanied many great musicians, such as the brothers Capuçon or Ray Chen, for example. And boy, do I have truth and stories to share. So today, we're gonna rank plenty of instruments and see which ones are the most difficult to play with. And spoiler alert, it's not the viola. Let's begin. We're starting with the easiest, C, which are the instruments you don't really have to rehearse with. It's not difficult to play with them. B would be instruments where you do have to organize a session before the concert. It's becoming a bit difficult. A would be the ones where you have to study the repertoire, need to know the person, how he plays or she plays, and S would be the nightmarish instruments. All your time is dedicated to preparing that special concert. Cauchemar. So first up, we have accordion. I'm French, so that speaks to my heart. I've never played with an accordion. I don't think it would be that difficult because, you know, they have keyboards too and they look so nice. I love accordionists. Especially if you want to make them mad, you should play La Vie en Rose and they will get mad, and that's how you get them. So accordion and the easiest instruments to play with. Then we have bassoon. I feel like bassoonists are the vegan people of the orchestra. They are like close to nature. I feel they have this connection with earth. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they always sustain the melody, so they have this harmonic sense. I love how they play. But because they're such good musicians, they want more from the pianist. So for example, if you play Mozart quintet with them, they'll be the ones that critique you the most. Bassoonists can be mean, vegan people. And that's why I'm putting the bassoonist in the B tier. Next up, we have cello. One of my favorite instruments. It has great repertoire. Rachmaninoff sonata is just to die for. Because they do so much quartets and orchestra practice, I feel like they have a good sense of rhythm. They're great people until their instrument slipped because of the hole they did in the floor that didn't work out. But until that point, they are great people to play with. I love them. They are easy to accompany because they do those big gestures before producing a sound. I would put them in the easiest to play with, the C tier. Clarinets, a bit more difficult. You know why? They need some time to produce the sound because, the air. As a pianist, you do that, you have a note. So it's not the same way of producing the sound and you have to get used to that. I would put them next to the bassoon in the B tier. And also, fun fact about them, they have lots of water inside the instruments after some time of playing, and they do that weird sound that just drives me up the wall. But other than that, I really like them. Flute is also an instrument that I've played with in chamber music in duo, Poulenc sonata, fantastic. I think I would put them next to bassoon and clarinet. I mean, it's the same kind of problem, producing the sound, the air, although they are used to solo in the orchestras and they're used to, spotlight being on them. Yeah, it might be a little bit easier to play with them than with the bassoonist, for example. Next up, we have triangle. If you can't keep the beat with the triangle, or if you're not together with the triangle, there are some serious practicing problems. And for practicing, we have a great app called Tonic. It's completely free. Join a virtual practicing room where people give you feedback. You can give feedback to people. You can even win prizes just by practicing. So if that sounds interesting to you, scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the description below. With that said, we're gonna put the triangle in the easiest instrument to play with. In Liszt concerto at the end, when you hear that triangle, it's like, I can be free. Next up, we have the French horn. That's Schumann, Opus 73, and that's beautiful. And you can play that piece with the French horn. The problem with the French horn is that, not all of them, but it sounds like a moody teenager that
has a crackling voice,
The breathing is a bit complicated, so I think that's hard instrument to play with. One of the worst. The first ones, at least in our A category. So yes, I will put it in the A tier. Listen to Schumann if you can. What happens when you mix the cool instrument with the nerdiest instrument? I have no idea, but I feel like guitar is an instrument that is used to play with other people, whether it's accompanying a singer or being part of a group. So they would be easy to play with. I would put them next to the triangle. In the C tier, those guitarists with their long hair. A little bit like the guitar, they are used to playing with other people and they're used to playing the orchestra. So they have a good sense of rhythm. To be honest, I once played a contemporary piece. It was so hard rhythmically and it was one of the first rehearsals and the harpists were the only ones to scream at me the bar we were at. So thanks to the harpist, I knew where I was in the piece. So I will say they are, next to the guitar and easy to play with. And another cliche, I think they're nice people. I love watching the oboe because it sounds wonderful, but they look not so good while doing the sounds that they produce because it needs so much energy. Also, they're obsessed with making reeds. I mean, that's all they talk about. So yes, next to French horn in the difficult instrument to play with. Not maybe the worst, but yeah, close to it. I've never played with a saxophone, I'm afraid. In the first version of the Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin, there is a saxophone, so that's maybe, how you could play with one as a pianist, or even in a jazz group, obviously. But I think they're also used to play with other people, so that makes them a great candidate to be the easiest instrument to play with. Okay, next up we have singers, and they deserve their own categories. It can be very difficult. They usually think the piano is too strong. The balance is always a problem. Rhythmically, it can be difficult to be with them because they want to do music and they're not so much aware of what's going on beneath them. But on the plus side, you get the most beautiful repertoire. Without pedal, thank you. Schubert, accompanist, that's so gripping, that's beautiful. What I do like about singers is that you become their shrink. So you get, lots of gossip. I like that about them. Yeah, you're their emotional support. And for that, I will put them in the worst instrument to play with. Although I love playing with them, it's also a nightmare. Love-hate. Trombones, I've never played as a duo. I mean, in orchestra for sure. I think on stage, to accompany them would be a nightmare because the act of producing the sound, it's like going to the gym. For me, it's... And they have this whole body to move. I think that would be very difficult. And also because of the repertoire would be mostly transcriptions, I feel. So difficult for the piano, not made for the piano. That could go next to the flute in the B tier. Sorry, trombones. I played Shostakovich Piano Concerto, the first one. It's for trumpet and piano. It's so much fun. It's a mind-blowing piece, and I love the trumpetist in it. I feel like they are easy to play with. They have this method called circular breathing, where they use the air in their cheeks while they're producing the sound. So sometimes they don't even need to get air. So it's fascinating. They have great repertoire. They're used to play with orchestra. I think they'll be like heaven to play with. Also, all the trumpetists that I know are super fun and always up for drinks. So yeah, easiest to play with, C tier. One of my favorite experiences when I'm in the audience is looking at the tuba, waiting for his note to be played in a symphony. It's the best because they have few notes to play and they're super important, right? Yeah, there's a Hindemith sonata, but Hindemith composed for lots of winds, so I guess I could play the Hindemith sonata with them. I think it would not be so easy to play with them because of also the act of producing a sound that is costing energy compared to the piano, so I would put them next to the trombone. I think it's fair that such big instruments received the B tier. The famous viola. I have jokes, viola jokes, but I will not say any joke not to offend anyone today. Except that one. How do you know if a viola is out of tune? It's because the bow is moving. They have the greatest repertoire and they're usually aware of their bad rep, so they come extremely prepared, and I like that about them. I would put them in the easiest to play with. That's coming from someone who accompanied a viola in Franck sonata. Or should I play that? With a viola. That's an experience. What happens when two people in a relationship think that they are the star? There's this strange kind of ego trip between pianist and violin in terms of balance, in terms of what one says to the other during the rehearsals. We have the best repertoire. We have Kreutzer Sonata. Okay, that's fantastic repertoire. We have Franck Sonata, Mozart sonatas. By the way, Mozart composed his sonatas and he named them sonatas for piano and violin. Maybe there's something to learn here. Violin, I will put them in the A tier because I feel like they would be too proud to be next to the singers, and I don't want that. I want them in second place. Feel free to insult me in the comments, but yeah, that's how I feel. Difficult to play with, but not the most difficult. Okay, next up we have the piano. Pianists are like the nerdiest people you ever meet. They practice so much. In music schools, when you play with a pianist, it's either 4 hands or 2 pianos. You could accompany a Mozart concerto. The A major, the number 23, for example, or any Rachmaninoff concerto if you're more advanced. And there's a collaboration here because one has to respect the soloist, right? But when it comes to a sonata like the Mozart sonata, the Poulenc sonata, sometimes it can get really difficult because it becomes an ego trip, right? Where one plays loud or other one wants to play louder. And so at the end, it's like this mess. The same mechanism, but lots of personalities in the piano world. So for that, I would put piano next to the violin because I think they are equal, and that will make the violinist even more furious with me, and I like that. So that's it, that's my tier list for the worst instrument to play with as a pianist. Please let me know if you agree or disagree by leaving a comment. Subscribe to see my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and see you.